Okay, before I dive into this week's Impact review, I just want to clarify some comments I made on last week's review that I had. The Bully Ray segment on the show last week, where he chronicling his big master plan to be the president of Eights and Eights, I thought that was very good. There was just some parts of the show that I thought were out of place, where the 1 hour segment, the 1 hour main event segment with Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell, I thought that should have been later on in the show. I didn't think it should have been the 1 hour main event. I thought that should have been reserved for the segment with AJ Styles and Cowboy James Storm. That's what I thought was wrong with that show last week. But enough about last week's show. Let's dive into this week's show. So once again, it's open fight night on Impact Wrestling. And who better to start off the show than your number one contender, Jeff Hardy. He's in the ring. He's about to ready to cut the promo. And looks like he's going to call somebody out. But then you hear Bully Ray and the Eights and Eights coming down to ringside. And Bully Ray's talking about, why would you call me out, Jeff? Hey, it's not... the title wouldn't be on the line, so... and he makes a valid point there. And talking about their match in a couple of weeks for the World Heavyweight title in Corpus Christi, Texas. And then you hear Mr. Anderson putting in his 2 cents, talking about how he's had second chance, and third chance, and fifth chance, and 75th chance, blah, blah, blah. But Anderson does make a valid point there, too, because, I mean, he's obviously connecting this with Hardy's real life. He has had many a chance, you know. And he also talking about disappointments, how he basically losing the title lockdown, and he's gonna have another one tonight. So Hardy ends up attacking Anderson from behind. The rest of the Eights and Eights attack him. Then you have some of the TNA guys coming down the ring. You got Angle coming down there. You got Magnus. You got Joe. You got EY. So basically, this opening segment set up the main event. Hardy calls out Mr. Anderson. So that's your main event. So next, you have our first real match of the evening. Team Stereotype. Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez in the ring, and they call out Bad Influence. Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. And this was, I thought, a very good match. Kaz and Daniels did about they cheated about every way possible to try to win this match, and it still didn't work. You kind of thought, since Impact is going to be in Corpus Christi, Texas in a couple weeks, you kind of thought that Team Stereotype was going to go over in this match, which they did. They did go over clean, so they're going to get the shot at Rude and Aries in 2 weeks. But and like I said, I thought it was a really good match, and that's all I got to say about that. Once again, the Gut Check competition is coming back, and next week we got a couple people that have wrestled. They're veterans of the sport, if you will. One of them is the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, against masked wrestler from Mexico named Magno. I guess he's wrestling like in TNA before, and he's wrestled in ROH and a couple other places. So I would have to think that Adam Pearce is going to go over in this match. You would think, considering he is a 5-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So I would think he'd have to win this. Alright, what we thought was going to happen next was the TNA wrestling debut of one Taryn Terrell. And oh my god, she looked hot as fuck. I am not lying here. She's probably the hottest woman on the TNA Knockout roster. And you know, who else was she going to call out besides Gail Kim, considering she's had a lot of issues with her in recent weeks? And they must be making a big deal out of this, considering it was a the 1 hour main event segment last week. So, but Gail Kim's out there, and she, I guess she didn't really want to soil her hands with her. But so she calls out Tara and Jesse come out there, and Tara and Gail Kim end up giving her the business, and you see Velvet Sky coming out there to help out Taryn Terrell, and they chase him away, and I guess Velvet's got her back. And then when they come back out of commercial, and Velvet and Taryn are having an interview in the back, and Taryn catches Gail Kim in the backstage area, and she goes to attack her, and they got this big pull apart. So, well, when are they going to have a match? Are they going to build this up to Slammiversary, or are they going to end up having a match before then? You'd almost think they would have a match. I mean, because we're still 2 months away from Slammiversary, so. Alright, Stinger is in the backstage area trying to get past the security guy who says that Hogan doesn't want to see him tonight, brother. But he ends up getting past him, and he goes down to the ring, and he calls out the Hulkster dude. And Hogan's out there. He looks none too pleased to see said Stinger. So, and they're just talking about this fiasco with Bully Ray, how Hogan made him the #1 contender, and how he listened to Sting and other people like Dixie Carter and other like TNA backstage people, you know. And he's talking like how he should have listened to his gut, but he ended up listening to Sting, and then they're about ready to go at it, you know, and Hogan doesn't want Sting in his ring and tells him to get out of the ring, brother. And Sting is trying to make him, and they're just teasing all this dissension between them just because they failed about Bully Ray, and they were wrong about him, and him being now the president of the Aces and Eights, and God, what is going to happen here? Are Sting and Hogan actually going to have a match? I mean, this is exactly what Aces and Eights want. They want dissension between their two biggest names, between a 54-year-old Stinger and an almost 60-year-old Hulk Hogan. So, this was done really well, I thought. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out over the next few weeks. So. Okay, the next segment was Cowboy James Storm calling out AJ Styles. You see Styles up in the crowd area, and Storm just basically says, "Hey, I know what you're going through with the fact that you're not getting a title shot until at least Bound for Glory, because he was in the same position as him." After he lost his title shot to Bobby Roode, you know, and it's like, I know where you've been, man. It's like, I'll give you two options. Hey, we can sit down and have a beer and talk about it, you know, but otherwise we can just fight. I can ball up this fist and we can fight. So then we see Aces and Eights again. Yeah, their presence was pretty big on this show. They start beating down Storm, and then Angle and EY come down to the ring to help save him, and so then Angle he proposes a 6-man match against Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, and Doc. And then so this goes on for a few minutes, and Angle ends up getting Garrett Bischoff in the ankle lock, but Wes Briscoe is the legal man in the ring. He rolls him up for the victory. So Aces and Eights win again. And Angle does the job, and you know, this makes sense. So I guess they're gonna make it be a while before Angle can get his revenge on Garrett and Wes. So this match really didn't make sense. Okay, here's a new segment on my Impact reviews. The mark out moment of the night. Yes, that is a pun. But evidently there's this Best of the X Division pay-per-view coming up. It's a one-night only thing. They got 3 members of the X Division that aren't currently in the title picture. And the winner of this match gets back. They get their name into the title hunt. And so we got Sanjay Dutt, we got Mason Andrews, and we got fucking Petey Williams, for God's sake. The master of the Canadian Destroyer. I fucking marked out for this. Hence the name of this segment. But, oh my God, this is awesome. I hope that Petey Williams, I hope this is not a one-night thing. I hope Petey Williams is back, baby. This is awesome. Alright, then your main event match was Jeff Hardy against Mr. Anderson, which was made during the first segment of the night. Yeah, they've wrestled before. They actually wrestled in the main event of Bound for Glory along with Kurt Angle. When Jeff Hardy turned heel and won the TNA World title and joined Immortal. But in this match, went a few minutes. It won probably about 15 minutes or so. There's ref bump in the match where Garrett Bischoff ended up bringing down a hammer to ringside, which seems to be their weapon of choice. Hardy ends up getting it from Anderson after Anderson dropped it, and Hardy hit the twist of fate. And then he ended up using it on Anderson, so he got the DQ finish. But he wasn't done there, because he ended up getting a chair and he got out a table. He got tables and ladders and chairs out. Oh my! And Bully Ray ends up coming out to save Anderson. And earlier in the night, since Hogan put Bully Ray into that match at Lockdown, made him the #1 contender, he gave Hardy the chance to name the stipulation. And you know what you're going to get? Well, it's not a TLC match, but it might as well be. It's Full Metal Mayhem. So that will be interesting in 2 weeks. Okay, my final thoughts on this Impact. I thought that the tag team match for the #1 contendership was very good. I thought that I am glad that the gut check contest is coming back. Hopefully we'll actually see more of those gut check contestants that actually won. I'm very interested to see Adam Pearce in the ring. I've never seen him wrestle before, and he's been an NWA World Champion, so I'm really interested in see how he wrestles. And this Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim thing, they're gonna have a match sooner or later. It'll probably be sooner. I'm still interested to see where they're gonna go with this AJ Styles thing. You know, is he gonna be the Sting of 1997? To me, that's what it's shaping up to be. And as far as the match in 2 weeks for the world title with Bully Ray and Jeff Hardy, I'm sure it'll be a damn good one. They've had good matches before, and especially in tag teams. So my only gripe about the tag team division is that there's really only 3 tag teams, though. You'd almost have to think the Ace and Eights are going to put together a team to maybe go up to the World Tag Team titles at some point. But anyway, let me know what you thought of this show down below. I actually thought this show was pretty good tonight. I thought it was better than last week. So anyway, I am Marvelous Mark, and I will talk to you later. See ya. Bye.